Welcome back to Variant Quran. I'm Daniel Brubaker. Thanks for being back here. This video, I'm going to be answering some of your questions and comments, which I've seen that some of you are waiting expectantly for new material, and I want to give it to you as quickly as I possibly can without compromising the quality of it. Now, as you can see, we got some snow here around where I live. I love the snow. I know many of you are in different parts of the world and may or may not get weather like this, but I love it. It's one of my favorite times of the year and favorite things to be in. All right, well, let's just get to a couple of the comments from the last video. And the first one here is from somebody named, well, screen named Final Turn. He says, "Hi Daniel, I am Muslim by identity and well versed with Quran and its Arabic. All I can say is thank you. I am following your work for quite some time and really appreciate that. To Muslim scholars, I must say that they should be ashamed of themselves for telling a lie to their audience. Instead of appreciating your work, they are trying to degrade you. You are doing phenomenal work." Well, thank you very much for that comment. Let's take a look at one more. He or she says, "Regarding Arabic, the work you're doing with such ancient Arabic texts is quite impressive. Those manuscripts are almost impossible to read for a native speaker, and I am one. It's not about Arabic, it's more about expertise in deciphering archaic Arabic rasms. Besides that, I never noticed any mistakes in your Arabic, even in your pronunciation." So, well, thank you very much for that comment. I don't want to say that I'm amazing in Arabic, but I do appreciate the input of native speakers on it from time to time, and I've been complimented at various times in travels on my Arabic and pronunciation, although it's far from perfect and far from complete, but it is very good to have encouraging words like that. And it's also very true that a major part of what I've had to do is to focus my attention on learning to read the old manuscripts, and that's, as I mentioned before, it's a technical task. It's not something that just any even native Arabic speaker can pick up and do. It's not an impossible task. Obviously, I've been able to do it, but it just takes a little bit of specific and focused study in an area that is not necessarily widely applicable. So thank you for recognizing that. Here's another one from Jacob Thomason, who says, "I'm a native Arabic speaker. Your work is amazing. Even your pronunciation is also really good. Keep it up." And I'm fascinated by the name Jacob Thomason, who is a native speaker. I don't know if that's a screen name or your actual name, but thank you for that comment. Fascinated to hear somebody named Jacob Thomason, who is also a native Arabic speaker. Here's one from another commenter named, screen name is King Samil. He says, "I am an ex-Muslim and a Yemeni Arab who speaks Arabic. Your work is great. Don't let them try to play you. Keep the good work up." Thank you very much for that. It's once again great to have that from somebody who is a native speaker, a Yemeni native. Let's move on. This is from Zanjabil Salsabil, and this person says, "Dr. Yasir Qadhi is not a native speaker of Arabic, which he often boasts of. His native language is likely Urdu, and his knowledge of Arabic may not be better than Dr. Brubaker's." Well, I don't want to, from my very cursory observation, I think his Arabic is probably pretty good. His pronunciation seems good, and I suspect that his Arabic is better than mine. I don't want to fault him or knock him down in his grasp of Arabic. I think it's probably very good, and that is my impression. All right, but this commenter continues, "From what I read about Dr. Brubaker, apart from English and Spanish, he knows Greek, Arabic, German, Hebrew, Syriac, and French. And Dr. Brubaker's knowledge of Hebrew and Syriac, in addition to Arabic, gives him a great deal of edge as a scholar of early Quranic manuscripts." Well, okay, so I listed some of those languages there. I don't know if he left one off actually, which is Malayalam, but I have a little bit of knowledge in a number of different languages. My best language is Spanish. I'm near fluent because I spent part of my childhood living in Madrid in Spain, and so that's that. Arabic is not a level of fluency or proficiency in that way. And these other languages, obviously I had to take German and French to pass proficiencies for my doctoral work, and that was just a requirement. And so I passed those proficiency exams. I'm nowhere near fluent in those, but I can read and understand a scholarly text in those as is required for the type of work that I've done. I can read Greek, I can read Hebrew, and I particularly biblical Hebrew, and I in fact teach Hebrew in my home every week. So that's something that I've been working for a long period of time. Syriac is something I picked up at Rice as well. Syriac is a language that's related to Arabic and Hebrew. It's a Semitic language, very closely related. Some important early texts are written in Syriac, and it's just a useful language to at least have a working knowledge in. But my level of proficiency in all these languages is not extremely high. I took a semester of Syriac and have the ability to read it and work through it as I need to do for my specific applications. So, and indeed, these things, particularly the Hebrew and Syriac, as this commenter notes, is very useful for somebody who's doing the type of work that I do. All right, here's the next one. It's from Nathan Durant. And thank you for all of these comments. Nathan says, for a Muslim to accuse a Christian of having an agenda to convert is extremely dishonest, since we all know Islam is a proselytizing faith too. He seems to be jumping on the current left-wing bandwagon and maybe hoping for support from that crowd. All right, and so I don't want to be negative in my comments, but I think that what Nathan observes here is actually a very good point, that Islam is a proselytizing faith. Now, that's not to say something bad. It's not to say something bad about Islam. It is a proselytizing faith. That is a fact, and that is just something that, you know, if Yasir Qadhi or others are Muslims, then they would be doing that as well. So it does seem a little bit strange to be accusing somebody else of doing that. So this commenter says, anyone who's gone through the process of doctoral work knows that a dissertation is not meant to be 100% error-free. That's why you do doctoral work, to show that you know something, not everything. If that's the standard that YQ is using, he should also know that it can be applied to his dissertation as well. And I think that's true. I mean, again, that's not faulting anyone. It's just a fact of life in the world of doctoral dissertations. So that was one of the points that I made in my last video. And then here are the last two that I'll show you today, and then we'll wrap it up. This says, Dr. Brubaker, I really appreciate your cool and gracious response. And Nigel Grief says, Dr. Brubaker, you are a real gentleman. I respect your cool and collected manner. And there were a number of comments like that, but just wanted to thank you for those and acknowledge them and say I hope that my response is gracious and gentle. I don't want to be anyone's enemy. I do want to engage in the conversation, but there's no need to be nasty about stuff. So thank you very much for watching these videos. Please do like and subscribe. I'll try and get some more content out soon, and even more than that, to get my publications out and ready for you as well. Also working on staying in touch with Shadi Nasser, because he had mentioned we need to get him on here after the publication of his book. I have his book now. I have not finished reading it completely. Some of you have gotten it as well. It is a little bit expensive. It's as are the Brill books. That is just the reality of some of these academic books. But there's really good stuff in there. I recommend it to any of you who are seriously interested in this stuff. One of the wonderful things about it is a great appendix as an index that's quite useful. And of course, the substance of the book is wonderful as well. There are a lot of other books and publications that we need to talk about, but that's it for now. Thank you so much for paying attention, for tuning in and watching, for liking and subscribing, letting other people know about this channel. More stuff is coming. I actually have several more videos recorded, but the editing takes time, and I want to make sure that everything is good quality before I put it out there for you. So thank you. I know there are a lot of people interested in seeing more material. I want to get it out to you. Meanwhile, I'm so grateful for all of you, and thank you so much for your attention and interest, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.